Everyone's heard the tale about a common girl with good looks who bought the throne with her body. Cleopatra supposedly won not with her brain, but with the bedroom. Forget the eyeliner and the rug at Caesar's feet. That's a cheap romance cover, not a business case. The truth is harsher and more interesting. Her main weapon was her head. Planning. Cold calculation. Theater that works like a press. She's not about love. She's about saving a company called Egypt on a market dominated by a monster Rome. So here's how I see it. Today we'll break down the 3 barrels of her arsenal that made her great. First, brains and education. Being the smartest in the room is a strategy, not an accident. Second, personal brand and PR. Not makeup, but a staged scene where every cent is an argument. Third, pragmatism and flexibility. Alliances not for romance, but for working capital, fleets, and soldiers. Picture a startup on the edge of bankruptcy. It's over in a month. Corporations nearby are ready for a hostile takeover. Cleopatra is that marketer who walks into the predator's den, smiles, and walks out with their protection. Yeah, the ending is tragic. But she didn't lose because she was stupid. She lost the game against a machine that left no room to maneuver. Let's go. Cleopatra didn't grow up in a harem of legends, but in an ecosystem of libraries and teachers. Languages, rhetoric, history, politics, medicine, mathematics. Her moves speak without an interpreter. For the Mediterranean elite, that's like a CEO today who writes the product brief himself and sells it to investors himself. No consultant middleman. Plus, she was the only one of her dynasty who actually learned Egyptian instead of hiding inside a Greek bubble. That isn't just pretty. It gives access to taxes, priests, provinces, and the mood of the street. The rug case with Caesar wasn't erotica. It was a planned operation. The city's at war. Power is in the hands of her brother and his men. The entrance to the Roman dictator is blocked. She packs herself not into a show rug, but into a bundle of betting a logistical hack to get through the checkpoints. This isn't, oh, what a stunt. This is, I solved the task under constraints. Next, don't seduce, but quantify Caesar. Give him what he values. A loyal Egypt is a pivot on the grain market and on the route east. Her pitch isn't the body, it's the numbers in Caesar's head. Port, grain, money, allied status. He gets a manageable partner. She gets a military and political shield. Both sides see the upside. The takeaway for us is simple. Knowledge and negotiation are power. Want influence? Learn the market's languages, read primary sources, calculate the logic of your opponent's interests. The loudest doesn't win. The one who states value precisely and delivers it fast wins. Cleopatra came to Caesar not as a petitioner, but as a co-CEO who already prepared the roadmap. Here's the Egypt you need and how we'll build it. She understood a simple thing. In politics, truth isn't enough. The picture matters. Personal brand isn't makeup. It's a script. Tarsus, the meeting with Mark Antony. A pure marketing piece produced down to the millimeter. A gilded ship, purple sails, air thick with incense, music. A crew dressed like a goddess just boarded. No accidents. A visual press. You come to me, but feel like you've arrived at a court that is an empire by itself. Important to grasp the mechanics. She doesn't seduce Antony. She breaks the talks before they start. Strips his confidence in being the main man. Makes him step into her show. And in someone else's theater, the director sets the rules. The psychology is simple. If you force your opponent to speak inside your scenery, you've already set the decision frame. pure PR. The visuals are backed by symbols. The goddess image isn't vanity, it's a signal to the elites. Egypt is a source of sacred capital. The Romans are mere force. You, Antony, can be master of armies. But next to you stands another kind of power ritual: wealth, antiquity. In business terms, it's like hosting the meeting in your office, where the lobby smells of success and the deck is perfect to the pixel. The client hasn't sat down yet, but already wants to sign. Conclusion: packaging decides. Reputation isn't posting on social. It's managing touchpoints, how they announce you, what the room smells like, how long the pause is between question and answer. A strong brand cuts the rate, speeds deals, and turns neutrals into allies. Cleopatra built a reputation so strong that even enemies had to factor her in or lose face before their own. Egypt is weak. Rome is a steamroller. A straight fight means obvious annihilation. That's a fact, not a reason to whine. Cleopatra's strategy buy time, buy strength, buy maneuvering space, through alliance with whoever has infantry, fleet, legitimacy. First Caesar, then Antony. Not because the heart said so, but because that's how geopolitics worked. Rome is the only investor who can close a round for hundreds of thousands of soldiers and dozens of ships. And it's next door. With Caesar, she gets internal stabilization. Return to the throne, political security, access to Roman influence networks. It's like landing a deal with the biggest fund. Yes, you give up equity, but without it, the startup dies next quarter. With Antony scaling east, joint campaigns, money, provisions, fleet. Their union is a consortium. She brings the Nile's resources and cult aura. He brings legions and status. Key point: she constantly reassesses risk, changes tactics flexibly, doesn't drag Egypt into unwinnable battles, invests in people, cities, grain flows. Understands that imperial politics isn't about love, don't love. It's about can't. When Rome finally collapses into Octavian versus Antony, the play space shrinks. And here's the thing: she doesn't melt down or pose as a victim. She tries to pull one more round. But when the market implodes, even the best management might not save the company. Conclusion: flexibility isn't flailing. It's rapidly updating your world model and using others' resources for your strategy. No point building your own fleet if there's a partner with an armada right here. No point standing on principle when the stake is a country's life. The pragmatist wins the long game. Cleopatra played like that until there were no moves left. So, her three weapons: brains and education to walk in without an interpreter and sell value, personal brand, and promotion to set negotiation rules before the first line is spoken, pragmatism and flexibility, to take what you need from the strong and pay the minimum price. This isn't a romance about a fatal woman. It's the tragedy of a genius manager who kept a company afloat in a storm, and, in the end, drew a bad market and a ruthless rival. If it hit the mark, like and subscribe. In the comments, write how you see Cleopatra. Do you think she was a genuinely good marketer who knew how to sell herself?